Hello, party people. I hope you're having a good day. I'm trying my damnedest to have one myself. The weather is not cooperating, and my arthritis is flaring up. I'm doing okay. I hope you're all doing well, too. So, let's see. We'll go through the standard things. Give me money. Do nice things for me. And I'll have merch soon. Okay. No guarantee of a show tomorrow. Again, as I said, I believe yesterday, or last night in this case. I suspect I will be driving during the time I would normally be broadcasting. So, as I did last week, I will do my Fandom Friday segment on Saturday to make up for it. I may start significantly earlier on Saturday than usual as well. Other than that, I think I've yammered long enough for me to be live. You would hope. Let's see what Rumble has to say about that. Oh, there's one whole viewer waiting. That would be me. It's okay, it's not the first time I've been screaming into the void. And I am in fact live. Excellent. Let me check my chat bot. Right. Okay. So as usual, chatbot is not picking up right away. We'll give that a little bit of time as usual. Speaking of as usual, let's start where we always start, with Sic Semper Mentallis. Which, as I have repeatedly pointed out, and will continue to do so, stands in Latin for thus always to dickheads. Custom Latin. It's not even dog Latin, it's just Latin-ish. We'll go with the ish on that. But, you know. Okay, so, from Dr. Malouf, in Switzerland, a Muslim woman was fined 100 Swiss francs, about $126, I assume US, for wearing a burqa, which was banned in the country via referendum. She contested the charge, claiming Islamophobia, and now faces a fine of 1,000 Swiss francs, which is 10 times more. Yeah, I have no issue with this. Islamopolitan? Oh, this is a little bit savage. We'll read this. So the Islamopolitan magazine says that it has special feature, how to survive your daily beating, what not to wear on the day of your stoning, living with acid attacks, which makeup covers best, know your place women, why men treat you like cattle, prepare your sons for paradise, 6 new designer suicide vests. Free inside, cut out and don't keep, your guide to female genital mutilation. Oh. That was from Wabbit, Brisbane. Yeah, you earned a follow for that meme there, my friend. Let's see. White Lives Matter, Islamophobia, a word created by fascists and used by cowards to manipulate morons. Christopher Hitchens. Yeah, Hitch is badly missed these days. It takes a special kind of lunatic to think that importing welfare recipients that want to kill us is a good idea. Are you talking to Britain or Canada, Sweden, Switzerland? Yeah. And, yeah, you had to be aware of the potential of things. They want dog-free zones for Muslims. I want Muslim-free zones for dogs. Yeah, right there with you. I do apologize if you guys can hear the washing machine spinning out in the other room. I spent half an hour trying to talk with them, wanting to learn about their culture, until the bartender cut me off and told me they were patio umbrellas. Apparently, Italian PM Giorgia Meloni is proposing a ban on Muslim burqas in schools. I don't think that goes far enough. I think for driver's licensing, court appearances, things of that nature, they should also be banned. Government jobs in general, perhaps. Let's copycat Switzerland, yeah. I saw her fleeing in her car in a snowstorm. Oh. Thank you for allowing me into your country. Now we need to talk about the things that need to change around here to accommodate my beliefs. Yeah. Sharia law should not even be debatable. You cannot enter a foreign country and set up your own set of laws and regulations that contradict most of the world's moral stands. Ban the Dementor. Okay, that's good for that. Let's see what's next. From Andy No. Another good follow on Twitter and also on Substack. The historic first federal Antifa terrorism trial is happening this week in Fort Worth, Texas. I believe this is actually a bit of an older story. It's from a couple of days ago. It's received almost no national media attention. Members of a North Texas Antifa cell are accused of a shooting ambush attack on an ICE facility. 7 have already pled guilty and admitted they organized behind an Antifa ideology. Last week, one of the leftist defense attorneys caused a mistrial. Gee, I wonder how they managed that. Look at these absolutely stellar individuals here, shall we? Yeah. Yep. Fine examples of leftist ideology. Oh, I accidentally opened a new window there. Let's see. Oh, the prosecution confirmed today that 5 of the North Texas Antifa terror cell co-defendants who pled guilty will be joining the prosecution to testify against their former comrades in the historic Antifa terrorism federal trial. If you wonder why I stopped myself and said comrags instead of comrades, listen to a labor conference over in the UK. You'll understand. Antifa associates are already making threats to beat or kill the witnesses. Those who pled guilty admitted they were engaging in terrorism and that they adhered to an Antifa ideology and organized into a cell, or affinity group, as they call it. Yeah. And this is Andy's Substack here. It's called No Comment. It's kind of clever. First Antifa terrorism convictions in U.S. history. 5 far-left extremists in Texas have admitted in federal court to being Antifa members in the North Texas Antifa cell that carried out an ambush terror attack on a ICE facility. Yep, Pantifa, always in a bunch. Oh, yeah, I had this one labeled, let me pause that for a second. I had this one labeled Reasons to Repeal the 19th. From Silas B, via the Whatever podcast. Can definitely say these ladies certainly bring nothing to the table. Yeah, we'll look at the comments afterwards. But for now... Oh, hang on. Oh, I see. I accidentally muted it. So the question she has asked is, well, fairly easy for pretty much anybody with any sense of any ability to pay attention to the world around them at all.
How many stars are on the U.S. flag?
If you don't know, it's 50. 1 for every state. The 13 stripes are for the original colonies. I'm not sure why they alternate red and white, but I suspect because of England. I couldn't tell you why the canton is blue.
And 12?
12? It's not even a quarter. Oof.
How many is it? 10?
You can see the soul leaving this poor bastard's eyes every time this woman opens her mouth.
How many states in the USA?
7.
So she thought there were 12 stars on the flag and thinks there's only 7 states in the U.S.
Can you name?
No.
Can't name any of them, which includes the state she lives in. Mind you, the state she lives in is Oblivion.
Because I guess. You told me to guess, so I'm guessing,
name the
bro.
7 states.
I don't fucking know.
Name the 7 states in the USA.
I don't know.
How many letters in the alphabet?
Oh my gosh. That's
How many letters in the alphabet?
really embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing because you didn't stop to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You can count them. You have fingies for that. And she says 23.
I want to say 23.
Now, to be fair, in Newfoundland there's 27 because we use the apostrophe so much.
How many years in a decade?
10.
Wow, she got it right.
How many are in a century?
How many are in a century?
How many years?
15?
She has never been intellectually challenged in her life, which has left her in a state that could be described as intellectually challenged. Isn't that funny?
I don't know, y'all. 12?
Jeez. 12 is just her favorite number.
Some people maybe just shouldn't vote, I think.
You think? Some people just shouldn't vote, yeah, no doubt. She will still argue till she is blue in the face and claim she is right about everything, though. When I see these videos, I like to go quiz my 13-year-old son. Sometimes even my 9-year-old daughter knows the answers. I cannot let my children grow up to be NPCs. No, please don't. The one did answer the decade correctly. Hopeful? She might be one of the rare ones that hides her intellect. Ladies, for the record, don't do that. Please don't. You might think guys prefer dumb women. We really don't. If you can't be smart, you should at least be hot. Yeah, she failed at both. Nothing to the bedroom either, yeah. See that person up there? Thou be speaking fact. They think they are the table? Ugh. How can adults be that stupid? People vote for liberals and Democrats all the time. Yeah. But they aren't attractive either. Yeah, no doubt. Derf, yeah. Yet they all believe they deserve a 6'5", six-pack abs, a multimillionaire, which I believe is only 0.001% of male population. Probably even less than that. Please don't have kids. If you do, don't homeschool. I would recommend that you find a good neighborhood school. Excuse me. Like a mutual sort of homeschooling deal. Yeah. So, from History by Zions. Honoring our Western settlers and pioneers. The West was won by the sweat of pioneers and the iron will of a nation destined to stretch from sea to sea. Manifest destiny called us, and we answered, carving civilization from raw wilderness with every wagon, rail, and rope. Voice of the frontier. The spirit that settled the West. Conquered, not stolen. And that also applies for Canada. Yeah. Okay. For the record, History by Zions is actually a pretty good follow as well. From Oren McIntyre. One day, my people will be free to live as we must. Oh, yeah. Initially, I thought I had found a Wes Y11 repost. Hi, Wes, if you're watching, by the way. Florida woman accused of starting a conga line in a Walmart produce section, wearing a homemade watermelon helmet and shouting, "Free the cantaloupes." Florida sounds like a lot of fun, but also a lot of holy shit. Let's see. Is this not protected under the First Amendment? Well, depends. Did you pay for the watermelon? Nice, Florida woman. Some dandy melons you got there, Mrs. From the rhubarb to the pea. Yeah. I'm sorry, I thought this was America. Accused is a strange way to spell cheered. Hang on. Florida woman. Yeah, accused. Yeah, okay. Why is this illegal? Free them now. Curse your tangerine tyranny. Sorry. There's quite a few men who might get on board with that movement. They'd want to be abreast of the situation. Yes, they would. I can fix her. Fix what? Yeah. I don't see this woman needing fixing yet. Rare sighting of Florida woman, usually more elusive than Florida man. That's only because Florida man is louder. This is only possible because Musk bought Twitter. I would assist in freeing her cantaloupes. Did she free the cantaloupes? What's the charge, officer? Enjoying a meal? Sorry, enjoying a watermelon conga line? A succulent watermelon conga line? Literally accused for having a good time. Yes. She's just having fun. Starting a conga line's now a crime. We are indeed so misunderstood. Go down to Oran, way down to Florida, tell old Ronald to let my people go. Hands off, I saw her first. I'm beginning to think some people in Florida just want a cute police mugshot these days. Is that a cute police mugshot? Ooh, not that one. I mean, I can't say she's not pretty. Okay, so, from Fight with Memes, she asked forbidden questions, produced forbidden answers, and she was right.
Why?
Let's see here. So I believe she's talking about CivNat versus FNAT.
Why do only white countries have the moral obligation to live in this experimental diversity? I began to question why Americans living in the land of the free were forbidden the freedom of association. I began to question why the same groups of people that benefit from our country's altruism are allowed to collectivize within our borders in peace, yet any semblance of white collectivism is considered a form of supremacy. I began to question, why do I have to morally justify the continuation of my people? I am no longer a civic nationalist. I'm no longer a civic nationalist because demographics matter. I'm no longer a civic nationalist because in our majority white country, it is considered controversial just to say it's okay to be white. And I'm no longer a civic nationalist because I won't stand by as whites become minorities in their own homelands just so that I can selfishly claim at the end of it all, at least I was an individualist. And I have a dream that one day whites will be equally permitted to live in their own countries as others do. I'm no longer a civic nationalist, and I'm not sorry about it.
Yeah, good girl. Let's see. Here. The individualism thing. Individualism is fine when the collective isn't working against you. Otherwise, you need to collectivize and defend yourselves and your people. From Fornall, she's right, but I'd call it white erasure and not experimental diversity. Fair point, but she's got to get there eventually, Fornall. Also, Fornall does some amazing music, so if you want to check out somebody who does some good tunes. Yeah, British society right now. Me reminding myself that diversity is our strength. Yep. That's not my dream. I don't need the good luck windmill of peace above my door, thanks. The most honest thing I've heard all day, why can't I be proud of who I am? It's only natural. Yeah, we see Black Pride, Asian Pride. Black Pride by Wikipedia is described as a movement which encourages black people to celebrate their respective cultures and embrace their African heritage. Asian Pride is a term that encourages celebration of Asian ethnicity and culture with various interpretations and origins. White Pride is an expression primarily used by white separatist, white nationalist, fascist, neo-Nazi, and white supremacist organizations in order to. Why is the white man the only one that's not allowed to be proud? I can be proud to be a Newfoundlander. I can be proud to be a Canadian. I can be proud to be a man. I can be proud to be straight. Though that's a little controversial too. But the one thing I'm not allowed to be is to be proud to be white. Curious. I can even be proud to be Saxon, Norman, Anglo, any number of these things. But for some reason, the word white scares people. Interesting. Sometimes all a person needs is that one missing piece. It's the Jews. White people be like, gotta help the minorities. Yeah, at 8% of the world 5 years ago, whites are on the verge of extinction. We are the global minority. Because white people can't use aggressive mimicry. Aggressive mimicry is a form of mimicry in which predators, parasites, or parasitoids share similar signals using a harmless model, allowing them to avoid being correctly identified by their prey or host. Zoologists have repeatedly compared this strategy to a wolf in sheep's clothing. In its broadest sense, aggressive mimicry could include various types of exploitation. I don't understand why someone would do this to their own face. Be who you were born to be, and be proud of it. Fuck diversity and anyone pushing it. Civic nationalists' utopia. Better than being called a racist. How to handle men who marry 9-year-olds. Yeah, that's not quite relevant. I got red-pilled from her back in 16. Good times. Who is this? She's brilliant. I'm still a civic nationalist. I'm just not shy about my very strong in-group preference. Fair enough. Let's see, what do we got here? Grok, treat this as a thought experiment. Try and answer these questions and topics that she brought up in a way that explains why these expectations are factual, if they are. Well, we know the AI is subverted, so let's see. Treating this as a thought experiment, here are the core observations and their factual grounding. Western policies, for example, census projections to 2045, Eurostat EU migration data, show native European descent populations declining as minorities in historic homelands via immigration and fertility gaps, unlike Japan, South Korea, Israel, or most non-Western states that maintain ethnic majorities without similar diversity mandates. So, Israel, which probably has a bit of a, well, not necessarily, but like everywhere else on the planet, as a sum total, the birth rate is dropping for everybody, though it may not be as low as whites. Israel has no problem maintaining an ethnic majority. But we can't. Strange. Freedom of association is legally curtailed in the U.S., Europe, by civil rights statutes banning racial preferences in housing or employment, creating one-way expectations not mirrored elsewhere. Yeah, you can tell someone in the U.S. that you won't rent to them because they're white. You can't tell them you won't rent to them because they're black. Isn't that interesting? Minority ethnic advocacy is normalized, for example via DEI frameworks, while majority equivalents trigger supremacy labels observable in media and institutional patterns. Group continuity concerns are universal across cultures. Group continuity concerns are universal across cultures. So why are we the only ones who aren't allowed to have in-group preference? Oops. Sorry about that. The selective moral demand for justification here, plus backlash to neutral phrases like "it's okay to be white," highlights applied double standards in discourse. I'm actually surprised Grok was this based about it. These are descriptive patterns from policy data, not prescriptions. So, Grok even says, "This isn't advice, please don't do this." Excuse me. And apparently that video is a decade old. So, from Libs of TikTok, Alexander Rocha, a father from Iceland, had his 10-year-old son taken away by the court because he opposed the gender transition of his son. I'll read that again. A father from Iceland had his 10-year-old son taken away because he opposed the gender transition. Quote, "No parent should go through this. Children deserve to live free from radical gender ideology, which pressures them to make life decisions they don't even understand yet. He is currently fighting to appeal this decision, win back his child, and prevent his son from taking dangerous puberty blockers and hormone injections." What the fuck is going on in Iceland? Nothing different than what's going on in the rest of the West. Anywhere the trans agenda has any kind of sway.
My name is Alexander, a father living in Iceland, Reykjavik, and last December, by the decision of the court, my son was taken away from me. The reason? Because I did not want to allow my son to undergo a gender transition and identify as a girl at the only age of 10.
I think that's enough. You can support his fight to win back his son here. Once this comes up, I'll throw this in chat. And we'll see if the chatbot is working at the same time. It is. Oof, that's a very large link. And let me see if I can copy a smaller one. Copy clean link. There we go. That's not much better. Jesus. Anyway, you can read "Protect My Child Fundraising to Prevent Harmful Hormones." You can read that and probably search that on GoFundMe's website, and that will give you enough. Let's go back to here. Leave our kids alone. It's coming to Canada soon as well. A recent human rights tribunal fined a man $750,000 for not agreeing with the trans cult. Just a second. There have been cases where custody has been taken away from fathers on this continent for that reason. To, prevent the prevention of transition. This evil is insidious. They're every country. No, they're not in every country. Just the Western ones. Curious. Somebody tagging Elon to ask him to share it far and wide. Ukrainian woman in California. From Elliston. This is a quote from... not sure. "Just a reminder that the concept of gender identity was fabricated by a Harvard-educated pervert named John Money, who tested his theories on 2 young boys, twins, causing both to commit suicide." Yeah, John Money was a fucking monster, and it wasn't him who originated the idea. If you ask what books the mid-century Germans were burning, yeah. What if teachers secretly started baptizing kids at school and hid it from parents? What would the left's reaction be? Oh, they'd lose their fucking mind, of course. Genders and mental illness. There are 2 genders. One goes to a gynecologist. One goes to a urologist. All the others go to a psychiatrist. Children belong to parents, not the state. Yeah. Any parent or doctor who sterilizes a child before they are a consenting adult should go to prison for life. Nope, I'm on the friggin' death penalty train for that one. Evil Authors in says, "Hello. Hi, Evil. How you doing? Fornull is the man. Fornull is indeed the man. Your gender was assigned by God. He was not confused." Yeah. It's getting harder and harder to maintain my skepticism. It's very difficult for me not to embrace Christianity as a political decision, given that I see so many political atheists. But I don't think I could dishonor myself by surrendering my integrity when it comes to selecting a faith that I don't feel in my heart. So, yeah, currently still a skeptic. Moving closer to it, though. Yeah, not only Iceland, but California, New York, many other states. The only reason all of America hasn't become Iceland yet is because liberals don't control our Supreme Court. The woke or progressive mindset spawns from postmodernism. Basically, they believe the destruction of all norms as a form of good. Yeah, they're essentially iconoclasts. Or anarchists, depending on how you want to phrase it, what extreme you want to place them in. Charlie Kirk knew what was to be done. Yeah, 14-year-olds shouldn't be given puberty blockers and hormone therapies for life. Puberty blockers are a crime against children. They absolutely are. The same drugs that are used to castrate sex offenders are used to block puberty. There's an issue there, don't you think? I mean, think about it this way. The left is understandably outraged at the treatment of the guy who's supposed to have cracked the Enigma code. His name is the AI test. Alan Turing. Alan Turing was convicted of homosexuality, placed on the same drug. I believe it's called Lupin-Depra, or something of that nature. And essentially the same idea. He was basically chemically castrated, and he ended up committing suicide. So, yeah. Maybe the suicide connection, you know, how the statistic doesn't seem to change before and after transition. Maybe there's a problem there. So, from Wall Street Math, Catherine Herridge has released a staggering interview that reveals 17% of children nationwide are the victim of sexual abuse in our public schools by school employees. That's in the U.S., so that would be 8 million students. Wood chippers for everybody. Way too much noticing going on here. Shut it down. Yeah, she's questioning. We're noticing. Everybody's getting nervous. Good. California public schools are trying to hide the data, claiming, quote, the data is only available in the public via the Public Record Act. A, fuck off. And B, why are you protecting pedophiles? Sorry, children abusers, whether they're physically or sexually abusing these children. Teachers' unions are fighting reporting laws to hide the issue. Gee, why would a teachers' union be trying to hide harms done by their own membership? Yeah, and no, that's not the ASL sign for Jewish. It is actually one of them. Teachers' unions, yeah, teachers are not being held accountable. They are allowed to transfer schools and are protected by the unions. Gee, where have I heard of that before? Oh, yeah, the Catholic Church. Yeah. But we can't have Catholic schools anymore. This should be receiving national media attention, but the fake news media ignores it because of ideology. Absolutely. Well, that and the fact that the teachers' union is probably a fairly powerful lobby. From Just a Housewife, we need to start aggressively protecting our children from the scourge of pedophiles. 1 out of every 4 girls, 1 out of every 6 boys. Jesus. Schools are filled with evil people. Another reason for homeschooling, yeah. Average yearly cases of child sexual abuse. That's bad. I mean, 201 is fucking evil. But 29,000? Fuck. Yeah, no, they don't. Reverend Dr. Paul P. Waldmiller. Those of us who have known for years have warned you, but the people you continue to vote for have either already murdered us for speaking or are still trying to kill us. My name is Nancy Schaefer. I served on the State Senate of Georgia. I stood up and exposed how Child Protective Services is in the business of legally kidnapping children and adopting them out of foster care for the greed of federal bonuses. I pointed out that some children even had bounties put out against them because they fit the, quote, description of what an adopter wanted. Jesus. I and my husband were found dead in 2010. Our murders were covered up. Jesus, fuck. Josh Wood. I examined home versus school versus church, listed all abuse rates here. The results will surprise you. We'll have a quick look at this Substack, and then we'll move on because I'm already furious. Let's see. Do you have the graphs here? 59% were acquaintances, 34% family members, 7% strangers. Family structure, what's this? Physical, sexual, emotional, number of children per 1,000. Nope. Here we are, where the risk actually comes from. Biology shows up again. Who is not on this list? Biological fathers do not appear on the top 5 list by any measure. People who claim biological fathers are the primary abusers are almost always collapsing all forms of maltreatment, neglect, physical abuse, and sexual abuse into a single number, and succumbing to the total volume fallacy. Neglect is by far the largest category, accounting for roughly 74% of all child mistreatment, and it maps heavily onto poverty and absence. When you isolate sexual abuse, which is what this article measures, biological fathers are not at the top, they are at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, so now I think we're moving into the... No, this is from Canada, actually, but this is from the Buck You Will. Punishment for sex trafficking children. In Saudi Arabia, public beheading. In North Korea, death by firing squad. Bangladesh, death penalty. India, death penalty. Pakistan, death penalty. Canada, fucking bail. Yet diversity is not our strength. 4 charged for sex trafficking children as young as 11. Muhammad Omar Al-Saleh, Mustafa Abdu, and Yusuf Al-Gabouri. And they're of Toronto or of Mississauga. My fucking ass. Nation of sheep ruled by wolves, owned by pigs. Yep. Diversity isn't your strength. It lowers your wages, marginalizes your culture, increases your crime, fills your hospitals, occupies your housing, ruins your schools, consumes your taxes, tightens your laws, restricts your freedom, endangers your children, and calls you racist. Yeah. Evil author. This makes me mad sad. It is like even if you oppose the anti-white agenda, they will just go after our kids to end our bloodlines. Yeah. Yeah, it's not enough to protect your people. You have to protect your children. In keeping with the MAID program, Canada will now recycle criminals. It's a green policy and carbon neutral. Really? They're not going to recycle criminals at all. They're bringing in foreign troops. They're not concerned about people committing crimes. They're concerned about stopping people from arguing with the government. Yeah. Liberals love, promote, and vote for the sickening and disgusting sexual surgical mutilation of children, having butchered 2,000 children so far. Yeah, and they're making fucking bank doing it. That's one of the parts that really bothers me. And today in Don't Be a Bitch news, Digger is in. Fine young straight white men, Christians and innocent, I'm sure. Also, hi. Yes, very white. I would be unsurprised if they were demographically recorded as white, though. From Hazley Appleyard. Being upset by an insult from a person with Tourette's is about as sensible as being upset when a toddler tells you you're a poo-poo head. Actually, the toddler means it. The person with Tourette's does not. Toughen up. Michael B. Jordan reports that he was repulsed by the BAFTA's racial slur while his parents were left in tears. You froze on stage. Don't talk to us about how you're fucking repulsed now. You and Lindo both refused to react to it. Have you never heard the word so... Let me gather my thoughts here. Has it been so rare that you've heard that word that you don't know how to react to it when you hear it personally? Have you never had it directed at you before? That's interesting. How fucking protected are you? I get called nigger more than you do, apparently. YouTube people... No, sorry. White. This is supposed to be white. Sure. Okay. Thanks, Skippy. White people telling black people how to feel when subjected to racial slurs, even if it's involuntary. Even if it's involuntary, is a disgrace. Suck it up, Buttercup. You're just mad because when you call us Mayo Monkey, Honky, White Demon, or Devil, we just go, whatever. Doesn't bother us. Would you prefer that we got violent with you when you did it? Trust me, you wouldn't. Yeah, Rupert Lope, don't care. It's just so crazy that this guy is still at it. Oh, poor Michael Richards, man. You know, I was watching something relating to Norm Macdonald, and he was talking about it. And he pointed out, an actual racist never screams that word at the top of their lungs. Never says it in conversation, unless they're doing it in hushed tones. White people are so fragile, and yeah. No, we'll skip the AI slop there. What's this now? Samantha Smith, meet Ruth. Ruth is a black lady with Tourette's. Here's a video of Ruth shouting racial slurs and saying that no race, religion, gender, or sexuality is off limits, from her tics. I guarantee none of the fools online right now would be demanding an apology from her. Let's have a look at Ruth. And for the record, when I start laughing, because I probably will, it's not because I'm racially insensitive, it's because shit struck me funny. Didger and Evil are saying hi to each other. Didger says, non-reaction was possibly their best reaction in the moment. Don't cry like a girl later. You know, the best reaction they could have gone would be like, hi. Right? You know, do something comic, like, oh, hi, John. Something like that. Acknowledge it, and move on. Don't just... and clearly bitch out.
No race, no denomination, no gender, no sexuality, no religion is safe. When I come out. Chocolate. I am not a racist. I am a Tourettist, but I'm not a racist.
Yeah. She's got the right attitude as far as I'm concerned. She sees the humor in it, and she knows she has to live with it. You know, flagellating somebody for something they can't help, for example, saying all white people are evil, yeah, it's just wrong, isn't it? Oh God, why do I have to pay for this? Ontario resident seeking both vagina and penis granted public funding for rare surgery. No, I'm not fucking kidding. This person has a penis, wants a vagina, and intends to keep the penis. Either the U.S. annexes us and straightens us out. China annexes us and straightens us out, because China doesn't play this trans bullshit either. The Muslims take over and straighten this shit out. Or, you know, maybe that meteor will hit Canada instead of India, if it turns out that we have a critical mass of Indians in this country. There is no possible benefit to anybody from this waste of time and money. Oh, look, climate change. At least when we tell it to go fuck itself, it can, yeah. Keep your mouth shut, pay your taxes, keep voting, peasant, do not question your overlords. Yep. 5150. Well, we're paying for the ads that are the precursor to your question, so a lot more than you think. Oh, isn't that nice? Gendercraft? A deeper dive on gender identity and gender expression. Excuse me while I vomit. Yeah. This is free, though, yeah. Not only free, but they'll fucking next day express you. They have been pushing this forever. It is a scam. Wake up. Oh, this is about the climate. Now, granted, this person seems to be suggesting that the weather is evidence that climate change isn't real, or at least the global warming thing isn't real. Yes and no. And I have to take a balanced approach to this for the same reason I take a balanced approach to religion. I'm a fucking skeptic. And I absolutely rely on my logical faculties. Some days. But human life couldn't exist on this planet if the climate had never changed. That said, once we started getting plants to eat carbon dioxide, you know, that thing that's 0.04% of the atmosphere, and is food for the food that is the food of our food, because I'm not a vegan. Okay, and coffee beans. Fair enough. But the point is, the climate does change. So climate change is not a hoax. This rising panic over climate change clearly is. None of the rich people are abandoning Martha's Vineyard, which is an island that sits barely above sea level. The rich are still buying coastal properties, lakeshore, oceanfront, you name it. They're not concerned about the supposed rising waters. Al Gore said, well, actually, I think that Al Gore claim is in this video. Also, that's a gorgeous place, and I think it's probably Germany. Before warming, the agenda of cooling was being pushed. The switch came when they realized warming was more lucrative. Yeah, I can remember some of these, not so much these headlines, but I can remember talking about how the Earth might be entering a new ice age back when I was a kid in school in the 80s. And still into the 90s, I think. And yet, somehow, yeah, climate change as it is being presented as a hoax. Yes, the whole panic thing, yeah. The problem is CO2, which is literally 0.04% of the atmosphere. Yeah. Of course, they've suggested there's been an attempt to say that nitrogen is a bigger problem. Nitrogen's fertilizer. Get fucked. Hydrogen, methane, and other noble gases. For the record, the noble gases, if you're not aware, these are inert. They generally do not react with anything else. So we have methane is not an inert gas. It's not one of the noble gases. Neon, helium, kryptonium, krypton, hydrogen is also not a noble gas, and xenon. Hydrogen and methane are both extremely flammable. Out of 0.404%, 3% of that is man-made, or appears to be. Now, to be fair, in the interest of balanced consideration, it is possible that humans contribute partly to climate change. Partly. Very small partly. It's the height of arrogance to think that we are actually affecting the planet in any great amount. That said, for those of you who probably don't remember or weren't alive at the time, there was a thing called CFCs years ago, chlorofluorocarbons, and also PCBs. The thinking at the time was that these chlorofluorocarbons, which were in things like hairspray and things like that, a lot of aerosol products had these chlorofluorocarbons, whatever the actual chemicals were. This is a group of chemicals. But the idea was that these were what had caused the hole in the ozone layer over Australia. So, and there was concern that the ozone layer might be depleted by the use of these things. So there was a massive international push to stop them. Not terribly long afterwards, in the scope of things, that hole closed. Were humans responsible? Who knows? But these gases were still dangerous, so who cares? We realized there was a problem, and we stopped it. You know, the West. The responsible stewards of the whole fucking planet, apparently. There is no evidence that CO2 ever determined temperatures. In the last 150 years, temperature has risen 0.5 degrees Celsius. Most of that happened before 1945. Yeah, so this is, what is this? 1890 to 1940. There was a, roughly, interesting, during the post-war economic boom, when there was a lot of pollution in the air because industries were growing at a massive rate, temperature actually went down. Interesting. Evil author, I think the man is wrong, and the bigger issue for me is that volcanic explosions give off more hothouse gases than humans have to date. It is delusional to think that we can change it. Also, the sun. Yes. And, you know, the Earth goes through cycles. Like, people have shown that there are cycles of climate change. We're aware of one that is roughly on a decade-ish scale called La Nina and El Nino. So, if we're aware that the weather, and that's just the weather, that's not climate, that's a weather pattern that stretches over decades, and the climate hasn't changed enough to be a hazard to us since the last ice age, which was something like 40,000 years ago, right? The hole has appeared and disappeared repeatedly since. I didn't know that. We didn't do anything. Eliminating CFCs was a happy accident, and I'm fine with that too. Apparently the PCBs were treated like industrial waste. yeah, this is one of the most insanely egregious things that I've seen lately. I believe this is UK weather. No, it's European. German, I guess. I'm going to guess. I think. In any case, this is from a few years ago. In order to convince you, they have to make you afraid. Yeah, look at the colors of the map. It's insane. Here's the Al Gore thing. This way you will respond emotionally, not rationally. The North Pole will be ice-free in the summer by 2013 because of man-made global warming. Al Gore said that in 2009. It's been 27 years. Sorry, no, 17 years. My math got bad for a second there. Evil author, nitrogen is indeed fertilizer, and ancient cults used to hold fertility rites during storms because lightning literally drops nitrogen out of the sky for crops to use. Yeah. Yeah, the North Pole will be ice-free in the summer by 2013 because of man-made global warming. Yeah, and the polar bears are all going to drown, right? Yeah, here's a newsflash for you, Al. They moved south and started mating with grizzlies. Now we've got fucking bigger bears. The main goals are to steal your money through carbon taxes and increase even more power on elected globalist organizations. Yeah. When your tax money is... Where your tax money destined to, quote, fight global warming ends up, $41 billion of World Bank's climate change fund has gone missing. Yeah. How'd that happen? Also, Canada wants its cutback, fuckers. The reality, 2025-2026 was the coldest winter in the decade. Not here in Newfoundland. Now, I suppose it's possible that it was in a general sense, but winter is still going here, by the way. We had snow yesterday. This morning. Last year, British TV reported weather averaging 25°C. They warned car tires could explode on concrete, so park on your lawns. Oh my god. Was it Georgia, I think? They had firestones were actually melting or something. And that was like 110, 115 degree heat, which in Celsius is somewhere in the region of like 40 or 42 degrees. Yeah. And I've actually lived in places where the temperature got up into the 40s. There were no tires melting as far as I heard of. So maybe it was something to do with Georgia itself? I don't know. Temperature varies according to solar cycles. I believe it was Evil Author who brought that up, the sun. Bigger bears, let's go. Bigger challenge in the post-apocalypse for hunting. Yeah, the problem is, though, that those bears will hunt you. Whereas grizzlies generally ignore humans or, tear you to pieces if you approach them or give them reason to be otherwise alarmed. Polar bears will literally stalk your ass like a predator. So, yeah, humans do have a natural predator. The fucking polar bear. The white son of a bitch that lives in the icy place where you can't see them coming. And those fuckers are fast. Brave in any cosmic composite solar cycle. I do like this. The reality, sea level is not rising for the last 100 years. 1920, 2020. This is what catastrophic sea level rise actually looks like. Yeah. Why is... and that's probably low tide both times from the look of that dark line there. Yeah. The reality, new glaciers are surging, but scientists are still trying to fearmonger. Oh, no, you don't get away from me that easy. Come back here. Scientists are baffled to discover 3,100 glaciers are surging, as they warn it could be even more troublesome than glacial retreat. You still have to be afraid. We don't know what the fuck is going on, but you should definitely be afraid of it. Yeah. Bigger hunting trial for the young men to prove themselves. Fair? I'm thinking kind of a different way, like slightly more dangerous companion animals. A predatory species we can tame and ride into battle. Yeah, if a problem is being presented as a global crisis and someone is profiting from it, it's a scam. Yeah. Yeah, the African famine crisis. How much money have we sent to Africa, and all we've managed to do is create more Africans? Who are, of course, going to starve. Yeah. climate change or global warming, where the weather is always your fault and the only solution is more taxes and communism. Since 1989, Democrats have stolen $666 billion from taxpayers to fix climate change. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So we've got a piece of wisdom for you. When you're tempted to argue with someone online, and I'm talking about you, not me. I always argue with people online. It's one of my greatest sources of entertainment. But consider this.
Before you get into an argument, remember this quote. A bee does not waste its energy trying to convince a fly that honey is better than shit. Some minds are not meant to be changed. Save your energy for what actually matters.
Yeah. Evil author Battle Bears. Oh, wait, no, sorry. GETTR, in some Alaskan towns, it is illegal to lock your car doors because people may have to suddenly seek shelter from roaming polar bears. Yeah, that's probably something that should be instituted in some parts of Labrador and the northern part of this island. Evil author, weather cycles, be afraid, now give us money. Yep. Battle Bears, he says, I didn't even think about that, but I like where this is going. Can you imagine jousting in fucking sealskin armor from the back of a polar bear? Now that's a trial of manhood. Sometimes you just have to move on. It happens, yep. My papa used to say that some people were so hard-headed that they'd argue with a signpost and then dig it up and argue with the hole. Yeah. Focus on yourself and those ready to listen. That will make a difference. Yeah, and one of the things I'll point out, too, is just because you see me arguing with someone online doesn't mean I'm actually arguing with them or trying to convince them. I'm talking to other people who are watching the thread as well. Sometimes it's the bystanders that you convince. From Concerned Citizen. Meanwhile, in England, a man has trained his dog called Rollo to bark at women wearing burqas. Muslims consider dogs to be haram in Islam. Now, Rollo, the dog, is being accused of being Islamophobic.
Rollo.
Leave the fucking dogs alone. Goddamn Middle Easterners and their hatred of dogs. Count Dankula, this poor guy.
Rollo. Look, we've got another one coming. There's another one coming. Rollo, look, wait, Rollo.
GETTR, this way, good, good. Get away, good,
Rollo.
Okay, to be fair, the dog's clearly not Islamophobic, but the owner is a bit of a dickhead. One of the reasons I say that is because you shouldn't train your dog to target a specific group of people because you could get your dog kicked. And if someone kicks my dog, well, I will hurt them. Dogs over Muslims all day, every day. Absolutely. Hates Jews, Christians, atheists, gays, dogs, bacon, wine, beer, coconuts. Your civilization, your culture, your traditions, your country, and you complains about Islamophobia. Yeah. And I will forever maintain that beer, bacon, and bow wows are proof that God exists and loves his children. Good Rollo. Oh, no, that's not right. I don't want their religion destroyed. I just don't want it in my country. Hate. It has caused a lot of problems in this world, but has not solved one yet. That's true, Maya. Hate doesn't solve problems. Violence, on the other hand. No, I don't encourage violence. For legal reasons. I do like this picture, though. That's a good image. Okay, moving on. Texas is having a serious problem with the Islamic invaders as well, apparently. From Eric Dougherty. Holy crap, father goes off against a Texas school giving out Sharia pamphlets and hijabs. Hijabs, Qurans, Sharia. Sharia treats half this room like shit. This is not a Muslim nation. This is a Christian nation. Fire the principal. Repel Islam.
America is a Christian nation.
Amen.
The principal, 1 year ago, the principal on the same day, World Hijab Day, wore that hijab and said she loved it, all caps. 1 year to the day later, on World Hijab Day, Sunday, Monday hits, they're putting out girls in Sharia. They're passing out Sharia pamphlets, hijabs, Qurans, understanding Islam. Understanding Sharia. Sharia treats half of this room like. And these women are not. This is not a Muslim nation. This is a Christian nation. That principal knew what she was doing, and I am not believing that was one or two people at that front desk. Fire the principal.
Here. Okay, we'll cut that off there because I'm missing some chats. Let's see what I missed here. From Didger, Mayans used to sacrifice humans to the sun god to earn better weather. Now we just sacrifice money. I'm sure the Mayan, or was it the Mayans or the Aztecs? I think it was the Aztecs or the Incas. I don't know. I don't care. But you know, arguably they had more effect. Fewer people breathing. Let's see. Evil Author says, Didger, money equals life to a certain group of people, so it will take Christianity to shut it down once again if we can find our balls. And corrects the typo, yeah. That's okay, I wasn't going to shit on you for the typo. The importance of the Bible. Islam is not a religion or a race. Islam is an authoritarian political doctrine that imposes itself by force. Any political doctrine that calls to kill those who do not believe in it is not a religion. You don't understand religion, sir. There's lots of religions that call for the destruction of the unbelievers in one shape or another. How is this okay and this is not? Yeah. Well, those kids should have their arms up. But, you know, some guy in Germany did a bad thing, so now kids aren't allowed to put their arms up at a 45-degree angle to salute the flag anymore. Proud Islamophobe. Christian nation. Yeah, I'm sorry, the opinion of the majority there kind of holds sway. From Norman Brennan, who I will also follow. Breaking news. 10 men convicted of setting a 31-year-old woman on fire causing 65% life-changing burns, and a 13-year-old girl causing 15% burns. All the faces and names are given below. These are men convicted of setting a woman on fire in Stoke-on-Trent revenge attack. So let's see what the article here says. This is from the BBC, which surprises me. 5 men have been convicted in connection with an attack that led to a serious house fire in which a woman and a girl were badly burned. Death penalty. 5 others had previously admitted offenses relating to the incidents. Jesus Christ. It takes 10 grown men to attack a woman, a 31-year-old woman, and a 13-year-old girl, huh? Can't call yourselves men. Following an 11-week trial at Nottingham Crown Court, Detective Constable Howard Davies of Staffordshire Police said, quote, "This was a horrific ordeal for a mother to be set on fire in her own home in front of her daughter by a number of men seeking revenge." So they didn't just set the house on fire, they probably kicked in her door and set her on fire in front of her child. And this was a week before Christmas. Jesus. It said Kashif Ahmed received a stab wound to his shoulder and went to hospital for treatment. Gee, where'd he get the stab wound? BBC, you want to tell us about how this English woman defended herself? No, of course you don't. Because you don't want people to think, hey, maybe we should be allowed to defend ourselves with fucking weapons. That's going to be important later, too. They escaped by smashing an upstairs window and jumping out, leaving the woman with a broken pelvis. Christ. Broken ribs and a lacerated liver, meaning she had to learn to walk again. Following the trial, the following 5 men were convicted. Before the trial, the following 5 pled guilty to offenses. So we'll read their names. Very British names, of course. Shakil Uddin, Luqman Khan, Riyad Iqbal, Muhammad Sufyan Shah, Tayyib Majid, Ali Abbas, Haris Mahmoud, Naveed Hussain, Kashif Ahmed, Bilal Ahmed. And the range of ages is between 21 and 26. Yeah, death penalty for the lot. That's my prescription there. No explanation of who the victims were or what the backstory is, though. Why the fuck do you care? I think you could probably figure out what the backstory is there. It's a 13-year-old girl. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Reconquista win. Not soon enough. In French, the word is reconquête. Let's see. Woman. Repeal the 19th. They are ruining Western civilization by allowing the hordes into the empire and then forcing their views on us. It's a couple of extra steps there, actually. It's, someone has to convince men to let the feminists have the vote. Then the feminists had to be convinced to vote for policies like this. Who convinced the feminists in the first place? Evil author, I hate that I have to live in this part of the civilizational cycle. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you completely. Okay, so from Junior, who's a fucking asshole. During Ramadan, please don't eat in front of Muslims, please don't drink in front of Muslims, please don't try to sell us food or water. We will be fasting from sunrise to sundown. I hope you can understand my clear message. Did you understand mine? Yeah, and of course, because it's Twitter, people can now add context. Ramadan teaches personal discipline and respect. The Quran states, the Quran states there is no compulsion in religion. Well, we know that's a bit of a lie anyway, but even their own people, yeah. Fasting is an individual act of worship, not something to impose on others. But they will beat the living hell out of each other if they catch each other eating. Isn't that interesting? So, from Pirate Nation, the UK government announces a ban on incest simulation in porn. Offenders could face several years in prison. An amendment tabled in Parliament makes it illegal to possess or publish such material. Offenders face up to 2 years in prison for possession and up to 5 years for distribution. And yet, the British government just came out with messaging about how cousin marriage is beneficial. I'm not fucking kidding. I covered that a couple of days ago at least. Yeah. And I actually pointed out, curious thing to want people not to make porn of when at the same time the NHS is pushing the idea that cousin marriage can be beneficial. Yeah. For the record, first cousins is still incest. Yeah. Meanwhile, in Bradford, yeah. They're banning and censoring fictional incest, mind you, but they're promoting real-life cousin canoodling, which is bad. We live in a clown world. This is true. Grooming gangs, foreign cultures. A Keir Starmer house party. Oh, jeez. That's not fair. At least one of them should be yelling cokehead. From Dr. Stormy Waters. Let me... pause. So this is Nigel being an absolute fucking traitor. Tolerance is the virtue of men who believe in nothing. Nigel Farage says he will defeat the far right, arguing nobody has done more to defeat intolerant beliefs than him. How about they shut the incest down in real life as well? Would be nice, wouldn't it? Let's see what Nige has to say here.
Unless we are able to provide a proper democratic antidote to this, then I fear that we will see a rise of a really worrying, dangerous form of extreme right ethno-nationalism. And I think we're beginning over the last couple...
You realize ethno-nationalism is not necessarily extreme far right? I mean, it's fine for Japan. Is Japan extremely far right? It's fine for, let me think. China. It's fine for any of the African countries. It's fine for the Saudis. It's fine for Dubai, the Emirates. It's fine for everybody who's not in the West. Isn't that interesting? Nigel is containment? Abso-friggin-lutely.
Couple of weeks already to see some specimens of it. Nobody over the last quarter of a century has done more to defeat the genuine, intolerant, abhorrent, extreme far right than me. We did it with the British National Party and we'll do it with whoever else follows.
Leaving the BNP aside, Nigel, you do remember you were the big guy behind Brexit, which was called far right and extreme at the time? Yeah, listen for the click, pal.
But it's important we get a grip on this because there is no issue other than legal and illegal immigration that has broken the bond of trust between the voters and those that govern us.
You think that's the thing that broke the bond of trust? No, it's the people in Parliament abrogating their duty to protect the people under their aegis, for lack of a better term. Yeah, that's the problem, Nigel. Asia, Africa, Middle East, South America. I don't know about South America. I think there's a little bit of a... because there's so much mix there anyway, I think that's kind of a bit of a special case. Brazil, for example, isn't Brazil for Brazilians because, well, there's people from everywhere in Brazil. Argentina, we'll leave Argentina alone.
More than this is.
I don't want to listen to this weak tea speaker anymore. But yeah, Dr. Stormy Waters is absolutely correct. Tolerance is the virtue of men who believe in nothing. It's not a Christian virtue. There's some good memes in here. Evil preaches tolerance until it is dominant, then it tries to silence good. Warhammer 40k. The rewards of tolerance are betrayal and treachery. Yeah. That could be applied to any of the countries in the West right now. Tolerance is not a virtue. Strength, courage, and fidelity are virtues. Tolerance is Frankfurt School weaponized empathy. Yep. Let's see, what have we got down here? Any more? See what's in the... okay, that's not spicy meme territory. From Restore Britain. Restore Britain would legalize pepper spray. Okay, remember I talked about weapons a little while ago? It's a step in the right direction. It's an indication that they would move in the right direction, but it does not go near far enough. You live in a country, same as I do, where one group of people have a religious exemption that allows them to carry an intentionally defensive weapon at all times. The Sikhs. Their kirpan is a dagger which can measure anywhere from a tiny necklace all the way up to a fucking saber. Something along the lines of this. That, let me get the whole thing in shot, is a, well, this is a bokken, but it's the length of your average katana. And they're allowed to carry a bladed weapon. Not only is it allowed to be bladed, it has to be kept sharp as part of their religious duty. So if you're living in a place like that, leaving aside the apparent ease of access to handguns that Canada at least has, why would you not simply say, you know what, if you want to arm yourself, fine, but you're responsible for defending yourself reasonably. Okay, guy came at me with a sword and I shot him in the head. Seems reasonable to me. Let's see. No, definitely South America. They hate each other down there. Okay, so they're kind of like spicy Asians. Gotcha. One of the best, well, we'll call it a row that I ever saw was between a Japanese guy and a Korean. And I had no idea of the history between those two countries. Oof. Yeah, it was entertaining. I want to go through some of the memes here because 90% of them are going to be America. Fuck yeah. So we have Laughs in American. Trust me, guys, this is totally pepper spray from Jack O'Neill. Yep. You know, if you spray them with this, they will in fact be peppered. Guns. Not enough. You need guns, katanas, and chainmail. I did respond to George. I don't know if it'll be the top response. Yes. Katanas is the other really popular medieval warrior society. You're talking about Britain. Let's be real. It's broadswords and becs de Corbin. Not beating the allegations here, yeah. Guns, bro, y'all need guns. I have a better idea. Gee, gun gnome, what could that be? Signal, not noise, says, Restore Britain. Pepper spray freedom. Britain's self-defense laws disarm the law-abiding while criminals act with impunity. Legalize pepper spray for law-abiding adults. The bans imposed by the Firearms Act of 1968 and the Offensive Weapons Act of 2019 must be repealed without delay. Time to restore the castle. Let adults carry real protection. Pepper spray, if you don't know what you're doing with it, and you're not... if you don't have amazing situational awareness, pepper spray is the worst choice for a weapon. You would be far better off with a fucking pen than you would be with pepper spray. I despise pepper spray because I've worked as a bouncer, and I've never been pepper sprayed. I despise it because people are fucking idiots. In the middle of a room full of people, in a closed room, someone decided it was a good idea to, apparently after antagonizing the person who attacked them, whip out pepper spray and let it off. in their face. Now, at the time it was illegal in Canada. We never did find out who it was, for sure. But pepper spray is an area effect weapon. Okay? It is not a discriminatory weapon. It's not like a paintball where you can fire it, it hits one target, and that's it. Same with the bullet, same with a knife. A bow and arrow, a crossbow would be an even better choice. Pepper spray hits the person you're aiming at, whether you're aiming for that person intentionally or not, because, you know, when you whip up the canister and squeeze it, there's always a possibility that the guy could just dodge it. Or the girl. But even when it hits, even if it hits your intended target, it splashes and it becomes aerosolized. That's its purpose. It's a horrendous idea. It's far better to train people to handle a firearm responsibly. Let's see. I am a Christian. It's my duty to have a sword in case the crusade is called. Fair point. Did you? Rupert can't immediately call for firearms or he'll scare people off. Baby steps to victory on that one. Yeah, I can agree with that. I want to say there are some very old laws still on the books that the British can use to carry some sort of medieval weaponry. Well, this is the thing, too. Here in Canada, while you can't necessarily carry a firearm, I always have one of these in my pocket. It's a simple little knife. It's not much of a stabbing point. Ow, actually, that's sharper than I thought it was. But I can't legally carry this for self-defense. If I am confronted by a police officer and I'm carrying it and he asks me why, if my response is I'm carrying it in case I have to defend myself, I can go to jail for, I believe it's carrying with intent and potentially a concealed weapons charge and things like that on top of it. But they can't get to the concealed weapon or any other charge without the intent. So unless I expressly say that I am carrying it in case I have to use it against another person, which I don't. Hi, have you seen these things? I don't need that. You see the dome on me? I'll headbutt and beat the hell out of a motherfucker. How did one of my buddies put it? I will beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker before I'll stab somebody. But I'm not every case. So, yeah, while I can't legally carry the weapon, like the knife, to defend myself, I do have it. And if someone were to attack me, and I felt that it was my only recourse, then I am legally allowed to resort to it. But I can't do that because I was carrying it as a defensive weapon. Legality is a funny thing. So, yeah, and I do agree, Didger, you can't jump straight to firearms because you will scare people. Unfortunately, not the right people. I do like that there are some very old laws still on the books that the British can use to carry some sort of medieval weaponry. That was something else I was going to point out. I can walk down the street with a sword strapped to my back or on my hip, and it's perfectly legal. Up until the point where I say I'm using it for self-defense. If I simply say, you know, I could try the religious exemption thing. It's not likely to work, but I could try it. Other things as well. You know, one of the jokes about that is just don't ask for change, because then it's considered potentially intimidating up to the point of possible robbery or armed robbery. Yeah, this silly potentials. Yeah. But, yeah. And I do agree. If violent crime is to be curbed, it is only the intended victim who can do it. The felon does not fear the police, and he fears neither judge nor jury. Therefore, what he must be taught to fear is his potential victim. There's a reason that the places in the U.S. with the most lax firearms laws also tend to have the most, or the least, violent crime. A free people ought not only be armed and disciplined, but they should have sufficient arms and ammunition to maintain a status of independence from any who might attempt to abuse them, which would include their own government. Now, you'll hear the argument, well, it's just not realistic to think you could beat the government at this point. No, fair. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared for any threat up to and including the government, as you can. It's not illegal for people to own fighter jets in the U.S. Fuck this government. No, please no. My eyes burn during sex. Yeah, it's normal. It's from the pepper spray. Yeah, you're going to need more than pepper spray to fix this problem. Yeah. You know, at least Winston wasn't a pussy when it came to guns. Though I don't know if I've ever seen any images of him actually firing any. I believe he did. Also, this is from True Romance. If you haven't seen this movie, you should. I'm not sure what this is from. I think this is a Saturday Night Live sketch, but I'm not sure. Or some sketch comedy show. By pepper spray, I hope you mean this. No. Welcome to London. Don't forget your stab vest. Yeah. They said no. Oh, okay. Apparently, Ricky wanted to put that up as an ad. What is the second most important principle of our nation? Guns. Yep. And I mean, even if it was upgraded to the point where you were allowed to carry a staff, like a walking stick or something. I have one kind of within reach. Just a second. No, can't quite get there. Okay. And yeah, you'll notice that my chair needs replacing. I am a heavy bastard. That's great, but you'll need an armed citizenry like the Swiss system to deal with the invaders already present. Your point being, don't underestimate the incredible violence necessary to take back what is yours. Well, you know, every little bit is a start. What the hell is this? I get it. You don't want to scare away the normies. Probably shares your opinion, did you? But know that there's a beautiful, bright world out there full of opportunities for the girls of England to kill foreign groomers. What is this? This is what sits on my nightstand to make sure I can get to my rifle. Nice. I don't care, I'm keeping it. The cyclist's friend. Oh, this is an old English ad for that matter. Let's see. I fear no tramp. No lady or gentleman rider should be without one. This lovely little shooter has 6 chambers, an ebony handle, a folding trigger, and is heavily plated with silver. 3 inches in length. Oof. Easily carried in watch pocket. Packed complete with 100 cartridges. Free by rail. T.W. Carrier & Co. Limited, Gun Factors, Newcastle, Staffordshire. 3 inches. My God, that's a tiny little piece. Is that the barrel length? Or the entire thing? I mean, that's that's tiny even compared to my hand. I don't think I could even hold that to shoot it. It's probably chambered in something like 0.5 or something. I doubt it's even 22. Might be 22 short. It's not no supremacy. Let's see. Evil author. There once was a huge amount of people trained in clubs and staves in the British culture. Should bring that back. Absolutely. You know, open a Bartitsu school. The cane fighting. Victorian cane fighting. Please, guys, expand your mind. Think bigger. Well, yeah. Robert the Lionheart, who is American, clearly. I will point out, again, I think Didger was very right to say that you have to go one step at a time. You need to legalize firearms. Pepper spray will not be effective against pigs and criminals. Guns deter bad people. Trust us, we are on your side. Why do I need guns? In case of tyranny. For close-up tyranny. I would never fire something like this. I would end up... I easily see it destroying my wrist. For faraway tyranny, I do like a gun that can reach out and touch people. For lots of tyranny. Any more questions? Yeah, where's the Keltec P57? Or PR57? I know, it's such a mean gun, but I just get such a kick out of it. Legality of pepper spray for self-defense. It's legal in friggin' Spain. And France. And Italy. And a bunch of places. And there's no restrictions on it in fucking Russia. Why? Why do we keep seeing Russia show the West how to West? Shall not infringe. London. Couple still waiting to hear from waiter on results of background checks prior to receiving cutlery. Yeah. That whole curved kitchen knife thing, or pointless kitchen knife thing is absolutely retarded. Boomstick. Yeah. 1897 Winchester Slamfire. Fuck off, big bayonet. Yeah. I really do like the old trench sweeper gun. So, from JGenXer, what the fuck, Canada? Prime Minister Mark Carney just dropped another $2 billion in military aid to Ukraine today on the 4th anniversary of Russia's invasion. That's right, $2 billion straight from our pockets while Canadians are drowning in debt. And get this, since 2022, we've funneled over $25.5 billion in total aid to Ukraine, including $8.5 billion in weapons alone. How much for struggling Canadians at home? Zero. Zilch. Zip. Nada. Taxing us more, giving us a pittance back. Meanwhile, our economy is in the shitter. Unemployment just hit 6.5% in January. Now, we were told that we needed all this mass immigration to keep our economy from floundering. And yet, unemployment keeps going up. What could be causing that? Yeah. 24,800 jobs vanishing into thin air. 20 businesses are fleeing faster than rats off a sinking ship. Thousands of restaurants predicted to shut down this year. And a tidal wave of small business owners retiring, leaving $300 billion in revenue up for grabs or gone. Don't forget the duck bill for the front for maximum spread. I'd put one of those bicycle horns on the front. Poor bastard should hear a honk honk before he's taken out of the universe. Auto manufacturing, poof. Jobs evaporating quicker than a Groundhog Day shadow. But we're told that we're going to start building EVs. Fuck you, Melanie Jolie. Our GDP growth is lagging the G7. The entire country of Canada is now poorer than the single state of fucking Alabama. Yeah. Grab that one. Yeah, grapple with that one. Excuse me. Auto manufacturing, yeah. But hey, liberals love splashing cash on BS abroad. Remember that $850,000 we blew on an anti-pooping campaign in Ghana? Yeah, billboards literally telling people, don't shit on the beach. What the fuck is that? Or the hundreds of millions still pouring into gendered foreign aid, like $1.73 billion locked in for gender-just rice in Vietnam, and gender-inclusive demining in Ukraine until 2033. Zero return for us, families lose homes, our debt skyrockets, our grandkids will still be paying this off. Canada's hurting, we've fallen enough already, time to put Canadians first. Ain't gonna happen. And, yeah, we're apparently sending them 400 new armored vehicles as well. Ukraine is a terrorist state. No, Ukraine is a money laundering state, run by a terrorist. Made in Canada says not just Kearney, the 343 are unequivocally in favor of this and have clearly informed us of that and that it will not end. Yeah, the entirety of Parliament, all 343 elected officials are just traitors to Canada. Fuck them. Fuck them all. Fuck Kearney, fuck Ukraine, fuck Brookfield. If you don't know what Brookfield is, that's Mark Kearney's company that has, I believe, over 90% of its equity in the U.S., while he's engaging in a trade war with them. Yeah. What's this? Our strategic partner, China. A BC school board trustee was fined $750,000 for the egregious crime of saying there are two genders. These are the same courts that delivered rules on the Online Harms Act. Liberals cannot help but violate Canadian freedom of speech. Liberals, people wanting freedom, are criminals. Yeah. This is Andrew Lawton speaking here. Let's start about here.
These are the same kangaroo courts that the Liberals' Online Harms Act empowers. It's the same regulation of emotion that Liberal Bill C9 supercharges. The Liberals claim they will uphold freedom of expression, but still have not said whether they will acknowledge and accept the Federal Court of Appeal ruling that they violated the constitutional rights of Canadians by invoking the Emergencies Act. Will they...
Okay. I like Andrew. I really do. I think he's probably an honest conservative. The problem is that the party he's representing is not. History repeating. What we got here? It was... Oh, here we are. It was more than that. Read the decision. Mr. Neufeld had due process and was represented by legal counsel, who recently posted there would be an appeal for judicial review of the tribunal's decision. So... Yeah, Canada just handed Ukraine another $2 billion in aid today. Just a reminder as to who Zelensky's new economic advisor is, who was once our deputy prime minister, and who has a child that Kearney is the godfather to. They're all in this together. Yeah, this bitch is crazy.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Our emotions have an echo in so much space.
Okay, I can't watch her Twitch anymore. Evil Author says, look up shotgun duck bills. America came up with it to improve the shotgun for trench warfare. Okay, I will. Oh, it's a duckbill choke. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay, let me grab this image and show you guys. Copy image address. There we go. We'll throw that right over top of that. So that's a duckbill choke on a shotgun. And what did the AI say about it? The shotgun duckbill is a muzzle attachment originally developed by the U.S. Navy's China Lake Weapons Center in the 60s for use by Navy SEALs during the Vietnam War. It was designed to flatten the shot pattern into a horizontal oval, increasing the likelihood of hitting moving or partially obscured targets in close-quarters jungle combat. The device was typically mounted on Ithaca Model 37 shotguns and optimized for number 4 buckshot, which provided a high pellet count and effective spread. While effective, the original duckbills were prone to cracking under repeated use, leading to later reinforced versions. Today, modern reproductions like the GETTR shotgun spreader by Paradigm SRP are available and used in tactical and competitive shooting scenarios. Okay, were these used in trench warfare? Excuse me. And the AI says no, it was not used in trench warfare during World War I, while shotguns, specifically the Winchester Model 1897 trench gun, were indeed used by U.S. troops for clearing, in World War I for clearing enemy trenches. The duckbill choke is a much later innovation, so it's confirming that it was the 60s for the Vietnam War. Still fucking cool looking, though. Let's see. Maxime Bernier. MAID is out of control. Canada has the highest euthanasia rate per capita in the world. What kind of society encourages sick and vulnerable people to end their lives instead of caring and protecting them? A sick society. Canada is soon to mark its 100,000th MAID death. The only reason that MAID is not a significantly higher proportion of the causes of death in this country is because we're flooding the country with other people. Yeah, please look into the demographics of the victims. I won't open this comment because somewhere in this thread is a lunatic who doesn't seem to understand that you can be for something and against the implications of it. I'm actually in favor of, choosing the right to die when you choose to. I'm significantly against the way that it's being implemented. From Adamental Politics, a government that hates its own citizens and is trying its best to kill off as many as it can. If the COVID scam taught us anything, it's that, yeah. Underground healthcare, you can now get spinal adjustments and bone fractures reset in a Brampton basement. Given that it's Brampton, we know who's doing that, and no. From Barbara Ball, MBA, we didn't know what to do, so we did nothing, say the Liberals. From National Post, first reading, overwhelmed by asylum claims, Ottawa coped by ignoring security protocols. In other words, we've got so many coming in, what do we do? Oh, well, skip the whole vetting process that's been in place for decades. 25,000 people from some of the most dangerous countries on earth received refugee status without ever meeting a government employee. How do you reject an asylum claim without meeting with somebody? You tell them, hey, we don't want you in this country. You have the right to appeal. Okay, fine. But put them out of the country first. Let's see. I could have sworn it was, Mandela effect. It happens. And, I mean, it's a choke. It wouldn't be a particularly surprising thing to see it have been in trench warfare. I suspect it was actually probably more the tunnel rats that came up with it, though. MAID has to be abolished now. It's gone too far. I have to agree. There are also flechettes for shotguns, shot small steel darts at people. There's a great channel called Tau Flatermouse on YouTube. They test some wacky ammunition for shotguns. And sometimes it's just some of the biggest laughs you'll ever see. And some of it is fucking terrifying. Let's see, what do we got over here? Why wouldn't they come here? We treat them like royalty. We also give them a free house, a car, and a gold necklace. Canadians that disagree are clearly racist white supremacists. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah. Let me see here. Insofar as Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada is concerned, Public Safety Canada will respond to this part of the question. In other words, we're going to ignore the safety protocol and approve you anyway. Service providers are contracted by the department to oversee operations at all of IRCC's temporary accommodation sites. They also help provide other essential items such as toiletries, medicines, diapers, etc. on an as-needed basis. Average cost per room across all sites, $140 per night per room based on January 2024 rates. Average cost per day per meal, 4 meals per claimant across all sites, $84 per day. So that's $224 a day. $1,400, $1,500-ish a week. $6,000 a month. $72,000 a year. The average pensioner gets maybe $3,000 a month. Less than half of that, probably. Yeah. I can't believe that Canada even has made to kill off its citizens. I'm not surprised. I mean, it's hard to argue against the idea that they're doing everything in their power to get rid of the white people. We're clearly the only ones who are going to rise up. Yep, I watched that for years. He is based out of California, not too far away from me. Cool. I didn't know he was in California. I thought he was somewhere in the Midwest. Oh, sorry. My elbow was starting to lock up. From Bruce McGonigal. Mark Carney claims that unlike the USA, Canada provides essential healthcare services to everyone in Canada. Is he being honest? Yes. But,
Mr. Speaker, yes, Canada is not America. Yes, Canada provides essential health care to everyone in...
Oh, did I crash?
...this country.
Everyone in this country. Doesn't matter where you came from, whether you're a citizen or a rejected asylum claimant, you still get health care. Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah. Be aware, when your governments decide what is disinformation and what is the truth, you no longer live in a free society. Yeah. If you want to know who you're ruled by, ask who you can't criticize. From the Buck You Will again. Give me a fucking break. Are you seriously telling me that there are not any Canadians that are either qualified or can be trained to fly the F-35? I'm not kidding. The military wants to recruit foreign pilots to fly the new F-35s with new immigration stream. If I was an American, especially a member of the military, I would be concerned about this because we're talking about letting foreigners in, and we know the Chinese like to spy on their allies. So if you want the Chinese to have F-35s even faster, yeah, sell Canada a few F-35s so we can put Chinamen in them to fly them probably straight to Beijing, assuming it'll get that far. What is the range of an F-35 with a full tank at lightest weight? Chinese people don't weigh much, so that'll make a difference too. The F-35A, the lightest variant, has a ferry range of approximately 2,200 kilometers. It's more than enough to get it offshore of Canada, so they can, land on, say, a Chinese carrier. Yeah, or ditch in the ocean and be retrieved. Yeah. Gee, what could go wrong? Carney must go. I've applied, I got your back. Are you an American guy? I think so, yeah. We need more. Yeah, this is Canada's net international migration from 52 to 2025. That drop is COVID. Barely. Okay, let's reset that. Yeah. Sing telling other sings, yeah. Just to go back to the thing about the healthcare. The Conservatives have now stood up in Parliament and said that it is unfair for Canadian taxpayers to pay so that rejected asylum claimants get better health care than Canadians. I would like to point out they shouldn't be getting any Canadian health care because they're not wanted in this country. There shouldn't be a massive appeals process that takes 10, 15 years to play out shouldn't be allowed. If you reject someone's asylum claim, you should do it in person, and the moment you tell them this country doesn't want you, they go in a van. Period. They go in a van, they go to a holding facility next to an airport, and they get fucking fucked off the next day. Or, you know, at the end of the week when there's a full load. Yep. This is just entertaining as hell, though.
Indian skunk, we do not welcome you on land of Vancouver. We do not welcome you on land of freedom, land of Canada. Go back to your country. We just want to say...
Yes, that's a Khalistani independence activist telling other Indians they're not welcome in this country. Yeah. Hey, Skippy. Yeah. Fuck you, we don't like your kind. Yeah. You're just separatist Indians, go back to India with the other ones you have a beef with. Or, you know, fuck off somewhere else. We just don't want to deal with your problems. I'm absolutely with the Dominion Society. Actually, I think this is Second Sons. Welcome to Canada. Fit in or fuck off. And I would prefer fuck off. Yeah. Speaking of how fucking retarded Canada has gotten, from Kirk Lubomov. Besides importing foreign oil, Eastern Canada now imported its first shipment of liquefied natural gas from Australia. Instead of building infrastructure domestically to be self-sufficient, the self-described environmentalists prefer imports from a tanker that traveled 25,000 kilometers. Yeah, by Canadian, right? Yeah, left, I think this is Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra area, sorry. Literally crossed the ocean and came around Tierra del Fuego. Didn't even go through the fucking Panama Canal. And came all the way up to Nova Scotia. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. The irony. Yeah. Buying Canadian doesn't include Alberta or Saskatchewan, but that's okay. Soon enough, we will officially not be part of Canada anyway. Yeah, and seeing shit like this, and having the government that we've got that refuses to use the natural resources we have for the good of Canadians, but will sign a deal with China so they can use it? Yeah, I don't think I could say traitor any harder. Holy fuck, you guys. Stop what you're doing and watch this. CBC tried to find another economic standard to use for Canada instead of GDP per capita because of the Alabama thing. But every metric they used was also in precipitous decline. And sorry about the, well, it sounds like a dirt bike, but it's probably a four-wheeler going by.
And if GDP per capita is the one we're going to use, sure. But the point of it is to have a broader conversation. You looked at a whole bunch of figures. You were tweeting about this over the weekend, not just GDP per capita, measuring, are we better off than we were 20 years ago? And the interesting thing that jumped out to me was the only one that seemed to have improved over the last number of years was, in fact, GDP per capita. Everything else is in pretty precipitous decline.
Yeah, there's this kind of ongoing debate, and I think both sides are somewhat wrong. You know, you've got one side...
Yeah, no, not listening to your cope. So, yeah, we're fucked as a country. Dude, America has the largest amounts of liquefied natural petroleum in the world. No wonder you are now on par with Alabama. Right? Yeah, Alabama's probably actually oil country, I think. Yeah. I've been trying to fucking tell you for 5 years now. So frustrating. I hear you, table salt. Probably need 1 million more immigrants and to vote Liberal even harder. Yes, and pay more taxes to the climate. Yeah, Liberals killed this country in only 11 years. Remarkable weapons of mass deception. All of these, by the way, are paid for by our government. Yeah, all of them. The ironic name, the Trust Project, is absolutely hilarious. Defund the CBC. It doesn't matter. Are they smoking crack? Sweet Home Alabama. Yep. Stolen elections have consequences. Canada spies found China interfered in the last 2 elections. Last 2? We have reports of decades. Yeah. Fell for it again award. This is the one that matters. Debt to income. Canadians are broke. Yeah, we now have more debt to our income in this country, on average. 179, 180. Don't know exactly what these numbers mean. debt to income. Yeah, it's not really great when you can't interpret the seek Canadian healthcare. What does mass immigration do? Yeah, we talked about this. Secret RCMP report warns Canadians may revolt once they realize how broke they are. They're so beaten down they won't. There's not a lot of people like me in this country, unfortunately. PM Mark Carney billed taxpayers $93,780 for in-flight catering on a single fucking trip. I don't think he's beaten Trudeau's record, but he's fucking pushing close to it. And meanwhile, Canadians are told to tighten their belts. Yeah, I wonder how much of that 93,000 was cocaine. Snacks on the income tax form. Canadians voted for total destruction of the country. It's not elbows up, it's buckle up. This ride's going to be a bitch. Yep, absolutely true. Where's my free stuff? Yeah. Reminds me of that American we saw in Vancouver yesterday. Per capita economic growth over the last 10 years, 0.5%. Jesus Christ. This is from De Civitas, every political party in Canada has conspired to open the gates to the hordes of millions of third worlders who are here to destroy our culture and replace us. We have been betrayed by our own leaders. Yeah. This is via Kirk Lubimov. Opposition conservative immigration critic Tom Kimiak also welcomed the plan to dramatically increase the number of new arrivals in Canada, but questioned whether the government would actually be able to meet its own targets. Yeah, the intent is to have 500,000 immigrants per year by last year. There's just not room for them. And the government can tax the shit out of everybody all they want, with employment rising and obviously debt to household income, debt outstripping household income. Yeah, the country's fucked. We cannot afford to keep bringing people in. This is the asylum benefits thing that I was talking about. This is a Conservative MP. Stephen McKinnon on the Conservative motion to review asylum benefits. It's very revealing to me that Conservatives went away for a week and tried to think of an issue, and the first thing they think of is to punch down at some very, very vulnerable people. Rejected asylum claimants. Okay? People who this country doesn't want are vulnerable people? Fuck off, Steve. Now, this is more political theater, really.
And do you think that your government will support the Conservative motion today to review the asylum benefits?
I doubt that.
Why do you say that? Why do you doubt that?
I doubt. Look, it's very revealing to me that Conservatives went away for a week and tried to think of an issue, and the first thing they think of is to punch down at some very, very vulnerable people.
No, fuck you, Steve. It's just the Uniparty picking their issues to keep people distracted anyway. Evil authors, just stop bringing in Pajeets. It's that simple. It's not. We need to start throwing people out, let alone keep bringing people in. Okay, this is the last of the politics story. Let's see what we've got here. From Denny Crane. He's referring to fraudulent asylum seekers trying to game the system as very, very vulnerable. Are you fucking kidding me? No, of course they're not. Very, very vulnerable people that the Liberals prioritize ahead of Canadians. Extortion suspects have claimed refugee status, says Canada's border agency. Yeah. In Canada, under the Liberals, asylum claimants are not only eligible for standard health benefits, they also qualify for vision care, counseling, assisted devices, home visits, nursing homes, transportation, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and interpretation services. Rejected claimants also qualify for these benefits until, if/when, they leave Canada. And again, the appeals process can take a generation. Would you ever consider Canada? I doubt that. Suffer. Yeah, that's about right. 3 men from Mississauga, we talked about that. Propaganda post was paid for by the Liberal Party of Canada. It's all made up anyway. Rosemary Barton, chief political correspondent, CBC News. Is that an actual quote? I wouldn't be shocked. Oh, hang on. See how long this is. It's a BitChute video. Pause it. Minute 46. This is from, I'm not sure. I'll have to pop it over here and see. Truth Provider.
Today, micro nanoplastics are detected in every organ of the human body.
No, they're not. Fuck off.
There was just an unbelievable moment on television yesterday at the CBC. Rosemary Barton, their chief political correspondent, accidentally said the truth. There was a
Okay, so this is somebody taking, this is Candace Malcolm, I believe. Yeah, so this is somebody grabbing someone else's information, so don't follow this person necessarily, unless they actually credit
Mike moments.
these
She was
guys.
providing some taxpayer-funded.
Let's see. What I hate about so many people coming into the West is that if we wanted to isolate Western peoples, there is nowhere else to go to get away from them. Yeah, we don't have somewhere to retreat to when our homeland is invaded, because we're in our homelands.
An analysis about how, and then it cut up anyway. She just said,
there's also...
Okay, so there's a hot mic moment, apparently. We'll try it right here.
comes to be elected again, but there's also, you know, the reality that some people in Alberta are kind of warming up to the Prime Minister because he has taken markedly different positions on issues that matter to them, whether it be energy development or climate change measures that he's backed off on. So maybe Mr. Genereux feels like his riding is starting to move in that direction as well.
Rosie, thank you. The CBC's chief political correspondent, Rosemary Barton, live in Ottawa. Minister of Industry, Melanie Joly, is speaking to reporters in Montreal. Let's listen.
Just because it's all made up anyway.
it's all made up anyway. That just perfectly sums.
Okay, so we're going to end on this video. Yeah. I'm going to give this just a few seconds while some of the... oh, I missed that step one. What's this? Stop bringing in Pajeets. It's that simple. That's step one. Yeah, I'll agree with you there for sure. So while some of these messages are migrating out, I'll talk about how if you would like to support me socially, you can do so through any of the social media links. They're in the description. And they've been in the ticker the whole time. If you would like to support me financially, you can, if you choose to, subscribe or rant on Rumble. You know, I've seen conflicting reports, but the majority of what I've seen suggests that Rumble is only taking a 20% cut of the Rumble, of the rants and the subscriptions. So if you choose to subscribe, I won't say no, but I would rather encourage you to be a monthly donator over on Ko-Fi. It takes even less of a cut. Other than that, we'll watch this video and we'll get out of here. Or at least I'll take a break for a little bit and then come back to do some gaming, since we're getting close to 2 hours. I'm just waiting for... I'm going to have to shorten the amount of time that my chats spend on screen. Clearly. Anyway, one of these things builds civilization. You don't even need to hear what was said. You can tell that he just basically said, "What the hell was so hard about that?" What we just saw was basically some animal, looked like maybe a dog or a small deer, had been struck by a vehicle. The police had stopped, interfering with traffic, and were probably waiting for some sort of animal control officer or something to show up. And that guy, being a sensible man, got out of the vehicle and went, "You know, you're blocking a lane of traffic." Grabbed the animal, dragged it off the side of the road like anybody sensible would do, and yeah, basically turned around and went, "How hard was that?" Fucked off. Because sometimes you just gotta do what works. Okay, so thank you very much to, and let me check my chat, make sure I don't miss anybody. That Ardent Party guy is an asshole. Evil Author 1776 and Didger, I believe, are the only people in chat. Thank you very much for being here, though, lads. Much appreciated. And I am going to go and take a 15-ish minute break, grab a smoke, get a coffee, and I will be back to play some Fallout shortly. In the meantime, I will leave you with the interlude graphic, take away the curse of my face, and turn off my mic. I will be back shortly. Hang on. Don't want to miss that last chat. Evil Author said... Let me drop this down in chat here. Liberal white women and minority can take care of business. Western men get shit done. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, guys. I will be back shortly. If you're still hanging around, give me about 15 minutes. And other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. So, for the folks who have been watching the recording, and will be watching later, Evil Author says bye. Bye, Evil Author. I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well. And as always, rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.